Hey everybody, it's Peter. It's Sunday night, which means it's time for a review of Star Trek Discovery. Tonight's episode is Choose Your Pain, which is a lot easier than the Butcher's Knives having fun of the lives. At least they're keeping the title shorter this time. So tonight's episode is about Lorca was on a debrief with Starfleet. They made a comment that the Ripper, can't remember the technical word used. We'll stick with Ripper for tonight. That the creature actually is degrading every time they do a jump, and until Starfleet can replicate the spore drive. Anyway, Starfleet wants to try to replicate the spore drive, get into more ships, and more ships that are more battle worthy, or probably some heavy cruisers, that kind of thing. Because Discovery is a science vessel that's been tricked out to be a war vessel. And on his trip back on a shuttle, this is not a good show to be a shuttle pilot. Instead of being a red shirt, don't drive a shuttle because you're going to get killed. Because what happens is, and of course they get jumped by a Klingon ship. They figure they're going to fight their way out of it, grab some phaser rifles, and like, hey, here's what we're going to do. And unfortunately, he gets captured, even though putting up a good fight. And the shuttle pilot, of course, gets stabbed to death by the Klingon guards. Roll opening sequence. Bing, 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 dun, 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 dun. Star Trek! Still not keen on the opening, but what I try to do is I just, as I probably said in a previous video, I just sort of switch off that part of I do a data go ink and switch off instead of my emotion chip, I switch off my canon chip. Because actually tonight's episode was good. Wasn't too bad. I still got a couple of critiques on character interaction, which I think is not right. Lorca was captured by the Klingons, and you see later on he actually ends up on a prison. And in the middle of all this, they find out that what's gone on. The Admiral reports back, and then Saru was put into command. It's his first time, from the looks of it, being in full command. So Saru's in charge of the ship right now, and they're trying to figure out, okay, how can we save Ripper? Because Michael brings it up to everybody's point. She actually nicely brings it up to Saru to say that if we keep using the spore drive, it's gonna kill Ripper eventually. Saru has nothing to do with it. We have to save the captain. Blah 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 blah. I don't want to hear this kind of thing. And for some reason, Saru, maybe he's doubting himself. He's never been fully in command, so he's kind of a doubting Thomas right now. And sets up a computer program to list all the different, previous really good Starfleet captains. They list Robert April, which was good, Archer, Matt Deckard, if you remember from the Doomsday Machine, and wants to create an algorithm to sort of keep an eye on himself. I guess something to the computer will monitor him as being a captain and give him feedback. Yeah, so Saru doesn't want to hear about problems with the drive. We need the drive to zip into Klingon space because he's probably going to be deep behind enemy lines, and we need the spore drive to do this job. Michael has sympathy for Ripper. Michael goes up to Stamets to address her concerns about, you know what, we keep doing this, we're going to kill Ripper. Actually, Stamets is actually now chill. He actually listens to Michael if he says something to her. And he's sort of like, we got to be careful with this too, because this is the only thing drive. If we lose our source of the drive, what can we do? Let's find some alternatives. So with Cadet Tilly, Michael, and Stamets, they sit down and say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to plan all this out. And then somewhere along the line, Saru finds out about all this, and he's going like, no, we need the drive now, and blah, blah, blah. And him and Michael get into it. And this is the critique I was talking about earlier, which I didn't like. I don't know what's up with the writers, or these people have never been in situations, but you don't like full on, listen, you do what I say, or else. I mean, Saru's always been, I guess they wanted to bump up Saru from going sort of like, wimpy little so-and-so from the pilot episodes to being a little more aggressive, but it's out of character for him. I can sort of see him like being stern. To me, that's how you get things done. You be stern, you be commanding. You go in, you say, look, you're doing something wrong. I don't like what you're saying, but you don't raise your voice and come in like a lunatic and then start a shouting match. That's not how you run things. Military, a business, whatever. I said this in a previous one too. I think about the Orville, the way Seth MacFarlane's character, Mercer, he's always raising his voice at stuff. It's like, that's not how you run things. You talk to people in a certain fashion, just like when you're scolding a kid. You don't like shout and spank them or whatever else, like, we used to do back in my day. You talk to them in a certain fashion, and you say, look, this is what we need to do. So Saru's having enough of it. He confines Michael to quarters and says, Stamets, you know what you got to do? Do it. Even the new doctor. Actually, he's not the chief medical officer. He's one of the other officers. I'll post the name up here of the current Doctor who's actually from My So-Called Life. We cut back for the rest of the episode, focusing on the Klingon prison ship and what's going on. And you get to see where Lorca is. We meet, finally, Harcourt Fenton Mudd. No, it's not Roger C. Carmel. It's Rainn Wilson this time around. So he's the new Harry Mudd. You find out there's another captured Starfleet officer, Lieutenant Tyler. And he's in there with them. And the reason the episode is called Choose Your Pain is because when the Klingon guards come, you can either say, oh, beat me up, or beat somebody else up. And when the first time you see it, Harry Mudd goes, oh, him. Beat him up, please. At least in this one, too, the Klingons don't talk much. All they say is, choose your pain. And at least you can understand them when they're speaking English. And then the captain of the ship is a female captain. And she's our chief torturer of the prisoners. And she speaks perfect English. So when it's Lorca's turn to go in, he makes a comment about, yeah, you got pretty good at it. And she mentions that she comes from a family of spies. So they can speak different languages, English being one of them. So yeah, so I'll leave it at there. I don't want to do, actually comment below too if you want me to do like a spoiler-ish kind of review, or just talk about my thoughts about the episode in general without giving it away in case somebody hasn't caught it yet, because Discovery is, except for Canada, I get to watch it on the local space channel, but everybody else either has to go to Netflix or CBS All Access. So if you want me to, give my thoughts without giving anything away, let me know. Or if you don't care if I do a spoiler review and you'll watch it later, then make a comment about that. But overall, this was not bad. Again, what I'm finding is I'm just watching it as a show now. I did it last week too. Just watch it as a show. Don't worry about the canon. Because this is also, again, coming up in the fan groups, especially on the Facebook groups. There's a lot of people like, stop making fun of our show. If you don't like it, leave the group. And I wish people would understand. You can still watch and enjoy something, and you can still nitpick. Somebody was pointing out, too, I forgot, there was books that were printed in the 90s called The Nitpicker's Guide to Star Trek, The Nitpicker's Guide to Next Generation. And I remember flipping through it. I was like, basically, every little small thing that was wrong, nitpick. And I thought, okay, I sort of things just stand out to me. And again, it's how my brain works. So I can't, but I'm not purposely going out of the way to bash the show. It's just, this is how I feel. This is how I look at things. I always analyze things. I mean, I'm into computers and stuff like that. So, and I always have a methodical mind. Like, how does something work? Or why did that break down? And other people are going like, no, this is really great. Or we were talking about the Orville, and everybody's like, oh, it's funny. You don't know funny. I said, I know funny. But I have my brand of humor, you have yours. But I wish people would accept these views. But for myself, when I'm making a comment about something, I'm not saying, oh, this sucks or whatever. I'm just saying, like when, again, about the canon argument, it's 10 years, in between the shows. It's like, that didn't make sense to me. It doesn't. I still say to this time, what CBS should have done is make it a reboot, which is fine. But set it in the future, after Voyager, after the Nemesis movie, the J.J. Abrams movie explains themselves. We created an alternate timeline. We can do whatever we want. Yeah, but when I'm stating my thoughts and my opinions, I wish other people, because I look at the big picture, or I look at always both sides, and somebody says, well, I thought that was funny. Well, great for you. I didn't. And some people I'm seeing in the comments are going like, well, I can't understand why you don't like this. We got to remember, too, not everybody likes chocolate cake. Maybe somebody wants, white chocolate cake or, different things. It's like when I go out to eat. Everything's got spice in it now. I don't like spice. My stomach doesn't like spice. My throat doesn't like spice. So I'm going to get poo-pooed by other people. Well, gee, you should learn to like spice. I don't. That's what makes life different. If we all like the exact same thing, life, I think, in general, will be like pretty boring. Anyway, enough with the philosophical and analogies and stuff like that, but you can see where I'm coming from. Anyway, let's put it to you. What did you guys think? Did you like tonight's episode? Are you enjoying it? Are you an Uber fan that's totally into this? Are you still like me, slowly being won over as the show goes along? Or are you just like one of these guys, no, it's not canon, I don't like it, it's not Star Trek, blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. Put your thoughts down below. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. I am posting right now for all the shows, Orville and Discovery reviews. And I will do movie reviews on occasion when I do go out to see something half decent. And we'll go from there. And as always, see you in the next one.